Community Leadership Podcast, and I'm very honoured and privileged to have the new leader of Derbyshire County Council, Alan Graves, with us today. Alan, it's an honour to have you with us today.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Terry.
You're very, very welcome. And before we've gone on camera, we've been talking about community, our vision and heart for the community, what we do. That's River Network Charity. And it might be good just to share a few words and thoughts on your vision and your team's vision for Derbyshire County Council. Now you're in power and with us.
Okay, well, obviously we got elected on some manifesto commitments. We don't like using the word manifesto, but you know, commitments that we've said. And most of it is on about wasteful spend. So efficiency in the council is one of our key elements. And also we've got a focus on potholes and also on the SEND system. As people will know, we had a very bad a report of how SEND was performing, and you know, we're working on those focusing on those three elements because that's what people asked us, voted for us in the council. You know, and I'm really pleased that, you know, that change happened on May the 1st. You know, in a massive way. I mean, the council has seen some really big changes, and everybody's still getting used to how that works. You know, 42 new councillors, and the officers haven't got a clue who we all are. They've got no relationship at all, and we're now building that relationship.
That's good.
So that's an internal thing for that we're trying to deal with.
Good. And how are things going then from that point of view? In you know, you've come in, you knew. I mean, it was like a total landslide what happened in lots of local councils. It was a phenomena, really. It was seismic change at that level. And then everybody's saying, right, you've got in, you've no experience. How are you going to do this? What are you going to do? Now, what I'd say is, I like that, because if you've got no experience, you've got to dig your heels in more, you've got to get trained more, you've got to get your finger on the pulse, and you're determined, and there's the vision that you say. So I've said that's a good thing, and I wouldn't even say it politically. I'd say that in business, entrepreneurship. It's like the new kid on the block syndrome, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, like Netflix wanted to buy out Blockbuster, and Blockbuster, no, we're okay, we're doing great. No, you're not actually. And what did Netflix know about the new media? Nothing, because the new, you're creating it innovatively as you go along.
Well, you're absolutely right. Although I've been a councillor for many years, I'm probably the most experienced in that respect. However, if anybody's ever followed my history, I've always been, and somebody put this in an email today, which I thought was quite interesting. I'm classed as a disruptor.
Can I give you a fist bump? So am I.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and, but disruptive in the positive sense, because you disrupt and you bring change.
And so I would say all the other new councillors are brand new to this, and I see that as an opportunity. I see that as positive. Because they've got all their own ideas. Rob, the deputy leader, he is the same. He's going, why are they doing this? How can they be doing that? Why aren't we doing this?
Because we've always done it. We've always done it.
Because outside of local government, people do things in a different way. You know, you handle your own personal budget in the way you handle it. The councils have a completely different way of working. So I want to keep that vision of people. And I want them to change the council rather than the council change the new councillors. And that's, to me, is important, because when you're a councillor, you get put into a mill. And then what they do is that you come out the other side, and hopefully you are the type of person that the council can accept. I don't want that to happen. I want the council to change, to say, actually, I want to go the way you are. And all we've got to do on our side is understand how the council works, so that we can implement the decisions we want to implement. And I think it's going quite well. There's a lot of friction. There's a lot of tension.
I'm sure there's a lot of. It's called the RTC factor, isn't it? The resistance to change factor.
Absolutely.
And you always get that because people have got fear or they're rigid. We've always done that. It's the old story about the mum who'd been cooking the Sunday dinner, and she'd cook the ends off it, and the husband said, why do you do that? Oh, well, my mum did it. So it interviews her, why? Well, my mum did it. Yeah. Well, her mum did it because the beef joint wouldn't fit in the tin.
Yeah.
So waste, look at this for an illustration, waste got passed down generationally because nobody asked the question.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you need people now and again, disruptors, to ask the question, why are we doing things that way? Why? If it's not working, why? How will it work? How can we make this work? Common sense approach, which I love in community leadership. Yeah. And I told you, somebody said that today. I said, I'm going meeting the local leader of the council, county council, reform. He went, oh, the common sense party. Yeah. You know, because I know there's also resistance to change, you know. You'll get all sorts of bad press in politics, and you're the far right party, or you're leaning that, or I know Nigel's saying, you know, you're off centre right, and there's all this. But what are the local people saying who voted for you?
Absolutely. Well,
and let's be honest, politics, if we believe in democracy and you've got in power, well, we should honour that and serve that and submit to it within legal and moral constraints.
Well, I mean, we've had some what I call small decisions, but to the council officers and to people out, you know, to people with interests in that area have seen it as big issues.
Yes.
So there's things like the flag policy. We've changed that, which is I mean, it doesn't cost anything to implement the right flag policy.
Yes.
But we've got rid of the climate change committee.
Yes.
To me, they're small things. Yeah. But you know, we've had protesters here this week on Monday. Yeah. And we went out to speak to them to say, look, this is why we've done it.
Well done.
That's what people voted for us.
Yeah.
They wanted us to do these
and where do you draw the line? I mean, I don't want to get into it politically, but where do you draw the line with flags, and how many flags can you have up, and when do you say no, and how much decision-making power and money is spent then debating for days, weeks, months and years about one flag? Well, so if you've got a clear policy on it...
Absolutely. Well, there is a clear policy.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And it's very clear, the Union flag is the predominant flag.
Yeah.
We only change those for royalty and military occasions. And we want to stick to that.
Yes.
Now, what I found is over the years, particular groups or pressure groups have influenced things like the flag policy
through lobbying and through money thrown at it.
And what's happened then is you've got the majority of people getting fed up with it,
and the minority influencing
things. Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that, Alan. But also, just to explain to the people, because we've got a broad reach across Derbyshire, and they're obviously interested to hear. So you start cutting waste and getting rid of the waste, finding out where it is, bringing change. What positive change and influence can you bring? What's your vision for Derbyshire from that perspective? I know you've got fix the potholes. We all want them. Yeah. I live on Starcombs Road. You know, the waste, getting rid of the waste.
Hold on, just mark that down so that we make sure we get rid of them potholes.
Exactly. Starcombs.
Let's talk about influence.
Exactly. So what positive change would you like to see across Derbyshire?
Well, really, local authorities are there to serve the people in their area. So whatever the local authority area is, they're there to serve the people. At the moment, I don't think local government, national government is attuned with that principle.
Yes.
And I think that's why people get fed up of politics. Politicians get it in the neck. They think just politicians. So my particular aim, apart from all these particular priorities that we've got, I want at the end of the process to somebody say, the council, they do a good job. They might not always give me the right decision, but at least they listen to me and they do the right job.
Yes. Good. I like that. And it's interesting because that's the way that I see it. Who's serving who? The needs of the community. Who's leading who? And I think sometimes my interactions with local government, council, is this is it. It's our way or the I way. Well, hang on a minute. This is a partnership. We're autonomous. You are. These are the needs of the community. How can we work together to save money, reduce crime and transform lives? Absolutely. That is our vision.
Yes.
And we've been doing that. In our homeless housing projects, they were riddled with drugs and crime. Since we took them over 2 years ago, crime has gone totally down. The local police have said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And not only around the properties, but around the community. And as I told you before, we're now serving the community. The very people who'd be taking from the community are now serving, leading and giving back to it. And that principle, I call it poachers turn gamekeepers. And they're the best.
I've been working previous years with a group called Jericho House. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They do exactly the same thing, but with people with drug habits. And you know, I think they are absolutely on the nail with what they're doing.
Yes.
They convert people from being a drug addict to being an ordinary person in the street that's functioning properly. I mean, I've seen some of their good news stories where they've had children. And I think it's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Well, I can see that as that's what the sort of thing you're doing.
We do that as well. We do that in the supported housing stance, and we've got business plans we've shown you where we're looking at doing more rehabilitative stuff. At the minute, we have people with lower support needs. So if people have got hardcore heroin or alcohol, we'll refer them to rehab. But we're looking at opening our own in the sticks. You can't have them in local town centres because there's too much temptation on the doorstep. So that's what we're looking at doing. And ours is the same principle as the Jericho as well. And basically, it's a common sense approach, isn't it?
It is indeed. Common sense. It's not as very common as...
It's an oxymoron these days. It's an oxymoron. If you've got common sense, you're a minority. Put your hand up if you are. But anyway, anything else you'd like to just greet the people of... It's a real honour to have you with us, Alan, seriously. And thanks for responding. And I told you before, and I'll say it for the viewers, and I'm not going to name names, but we've contacted other leaders of councils to meet with and talk, and they don't even return our emails, our calls, voicemails on the mobile. And I said to John Whitby MP, oh, you can't run a business like that. And I went, oh, John, they're not actually running a business like that. They're not in power anymore.
No, absolutely.
And I mean, the nonsense is, they could have explored working in partnership with us, one. Two, they would have, our reach and our people who were serving the community thought, oh, we know who he is. He might get a tick from us now. So, you know what I'm saying?
Well, the reason that we've come is because we're ordinary people serving ordinary people. We are those ordinary people. We just happen to have been elected at this particular time. So it's unusual for us not to respond to people that make requests. And you know, we've got a mountain to climb through because there's all these people thinking, we've got to go and see them, got to go and see them. Well, we will see you when we've got the time. And, you know, today we've come to see you because you've asked us to. Put you in the diary, and here we are.
Thank you very much. And it's great getting to know you and hear a bit more, and I look forward to working with you more and getting to know you more. And however we can serve, this is it, how we can ever serve the needs of the community and work in partnership with the local council, we are here.
Brilliant.
And what can we bring to the table? We can bring extra funding, external funding in. We can bring volunteer culture in. We can bring years of experience. And that's the means of a partnership, isn't it?
It is indeed.
And that's how you can save money and transform lives and reduce crime.
Brilliant.
And make a brighter Derbyshire for us all.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in. Thank you, guys. Keep tuned in. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. And we've got more community leaders coming.